Surge is an open book for Ray Leonard. Backs up against the ropes.
This is one of the most unusual calls by a referee in the history of the sport.
The first loss. A tremendous victory. Leonard fighting off the ropes.
It happened. It happened. An uppercut by Douglas. Down goes Tyson.
Hooks in right hand shot.
Excellent. Knocks out Mike Tyson.
Slumps to the canvas.
The champion struggles to stay on his feet.
How do you like it? How do you like it?
Hello, I'm Jim Lampley. Welcome to this look back at the stories behind Bowe Golota, which for its own reasons ranks as one of the most memorable fights in 30 years of boxing on HBO. In this case, it's worth noting, memorable need not mean great fight. What made this Madison Square Garden night unforgettable was something totally unforeseen. A moment when a volatile mix of circumstances in and out of the ring lit a match and touched off an explosion. This ring has been stormed by thugs and hooligans. Impossible to imagine what's going to be done to restore order here, but right now there are no police in sight.
Chaos. A riot at Madison Square Garden on July 11, 1996. It came on the heels of a beating suffered by Riddick Bowe in his hometown. It came after Andrew Golota was disqualified for fouling. It was a short, steep fall from grace for the man who just 4 years earlier defeated Evander Holyfield for the title.
And new heavyweight champion of the world, Riddick Big Daddy Bowe!
In 3 epic bouts with Holyfield, the Brownsville, Brooklyn native was willing to take punishment to become a giant among giants.
I've had some great ones, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, Larry Holmes, and I said, you have potential to become the greatest heavyweight I ever had, and that's saying a whole lot.
He was long, he was strong, he could move, he could also fight inside, which was peculiar for such a big guy. He had a great uppercut. He had all the physical tools.
What Bowe didn't have was the same dedication to remain champion as he had had to become champion. His Hall of Fame trainer, Eddie Futch, had seen it coming.
He had some doubts as to whether or not he would discipline himself and not let himself disintegrate in between fights.
He loved the idea of the trappings of success. He hated the process of preparing to be great.
And I felt like, I worked so hard where I could enjoy myself, and that's what I did. You only live once.
Futch's worst fears were founded. Bowe lost the title to Holyfield in their second fight when he entered the ring at 246 pounds, 11 pounds more than the night he won the title. He would be champion only once for 1 year.
Riddick Bowe was starting to squander the enormous physical talents that he had. Even though he won the third Holyfield fight, he won primarily because Holyfield just got tired and he was able to knock him out.
It had to do with him living badly and weight fluctuations, 50, 60, 70-pound swings. And that yo-yo effect over time eroded his reflexes and hurt his skills.
Hoping to get another title shot, Bowe was matched with an underestimated opponent, Andrew Golota, for a homecoming tune-up. In part because he didn't take Golota seriously, Bowe found himself faced with a serious opponent.
I just thought they're sticking him up against opponent just to keep him busy until the whole thing with Mike Tyson can eventually be set up.
I just looked at it as if it was a payday. I thought 2-3 rounds we would be going home.
If he was always going to go up and down the scale, sooner or later he would pay a price for that. But you didn't necessarily suspect that it was going to come against a guy like Golota.
In the same 1988 Olympics in which Bowe won a silver medal, Andrew Golota of Poland won a bronze. Like most fighters, he had had a rough start in life and found an escape in boxing. He was big, strong, athletic, and wild.
He was raised in a ghetto part of Warsaw in Poland with a lot of crime going on. He is known to be a street guy.
Golota came to America in 1990 in an effort to avoid prosecution. He settled in Chicago, the city with the largest Polish population outside of Warsaw.
He was involved in brawl in a bar, supposedly gun involved, and he was afraid he will go to jail. He basically escaped from Poland.
Chicago was a place where Andrew Golota could find, friends, where he could find some employment or some kind of support.
When he came to the States, he said, my boxing career is over. I want to be a truck driver. And this was his dream, just to have an 18-wheeler and just go to Arizona.
But fighting was what he did best. He went to a gym and turned pro.
He was hoping in the beginning, it's just, temporary thing, boxing. I will just earn maybe a couple of bucks, will be fine, and then I will be a businessman. But then his career started to progress.
Main Events, which promoted Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis, signed Golota. 4 years later, the 6'4", 240-pound Golota was unbeaten and largely unknown. Still a work in progress.
He's 25-0. He's starting to get some recognition. He's a big white guy. There's an appeal there. And he wasn't just a white guy. I mean, I think he was a white guy that could fight.
Big, good-looking guy, strong guy, could punch, could fight, could do it all,
Golota seemed like an ideal opponent for Bowe. Good, but not too good. As an added bonus, the match boasted two big men with controversial tendencies.
There's the bell, and now some extra work. Oh, a little kickboxing by Elijah Tillery. Bowe won't stand for that. Rock Newman, the manager of Riddick Bowe, and a tag team comes in.
Rock wasn't going to have Elijah kicking Riddick, injuring him, and then throwing him off for a year or two.
During his rematch with Evander Holyfield, Bowe's crew also imposed street justice on the infamous Fan Man.
There's a massive melee at ringside. Rock Newman, Riddick Bowe's manager, was right there.
We was like, hold up, this guy's fucking us up.
How does this stuff find us? It was just utter chaos. All you could do was to try to react to it as best you could.
Rock is confrontational. Rock is from the politics of engagement, not from the politics of contemplation.
Golota did his own dirty work.
Golota had a reputation as being a guy who occasionally lost control. It was a biting incident in a fight.
Golota in deep trouble.
The referee comes up, your man bit the other fighter. Andrew, did you bite the guy? Andrew looked at us and he said, I had to bite the motherfucker.
Given his background as a street kid from Warsaw, he would reveal himself in the ring, where you can't hide from who you are.
I don't think he does it intentionally. I think something goes in his mind and he blanks out. Here's the Nicholson fight. He's winning every round. He's got the guy under control. He's hurting him. But yet, because it was going into the later rounds, he headbutted the guy. He does not know how to handle pressure.
Prior to refereeing the fight, several people in the boxing business had warned me of his reputation with the low blows, hitting behind the head, biting, etc. And Luduva, Rock Newman, also had a reputation of being excitable. So I had quite a bit of concerns going into that fight.
The recipe for disaster was in place on July 11th, 1996, in the heart of New York City.
Prior to the fight, we entered the dressing room of each fighter, and I went to Andrew Golota, and I said, Andrew, I don't want any of that stuff going on tonight. And he just looked me right in the eye, and he said, I do what I have to do to win.
When we walk into the arena, first thing I noticed was I didn't notice police officers. I didn't see NYPD.
The crowd was much more frenzied than I expected for a fight most people in boxing had very low expectations of.
Boxing has always been an ethnic-oriented sport. There had been no Polish serious heavyweight in the memory of man, and here he was, and his supporters stood and roared.
Brownsville people had started problem with the white people from Poland. The people from Brownsville didn't like the red and white flags being flown in their faces.
Almost half of the stadium were Polak, and they had flags, and they were ready to fight before the fight started.
People don't need to wear jerseys. When one fighter is white and Polish and the other fighter is black and from Brownsville.
With that energy in there, it's like a bomb just waiting to